Alright guys, today's the big day. We're going to paint this thing today. So I got in the booth right now and basically took the front end off. I'm going to paint that separate. Basically I blew the car out. I didn't videotape that because it's kind of boring. So basically, the key to a good paint job is cleanliness. So I blew the car out, blew it again, wiped it down with some final wipe, some final wipe solvent, just to make sure there was no contaminants. Because when I did bring it down to the tow truck, it was, crap gets on it. There's no windows in it, just to make sure we don't have any problems for our top coat. So basically what I'm going to do now is just set the camera up. I'm going to mask it up, and then we'll get some paint on it. All right, hopefully you guys can hear me okay, because the booth is kind of running right now and it is a bit noisy. So I'm going to go ahead and get masking. And yeah, that's the fun part, masking all up. Physically painted actually is the fastest part of doing this process. So I'm probably going to be in the booth for maybe 20 minutes when it comes to painting it, but we'll do a quick time lapse on just masking up real quick. It's pretty boring, so we'll get to it. Alright, so she's all masked up now. Ready to go. So what I'm going to do now is I got the fenders on these nifty little stands that allow me to, basically paint it off the car. I can tip it, move it any way I want. It just does a cleaner job, taking all the easy parts off the car. So basically what I'm going to do now is just give the car one last wipe and a good tack, and it's basically we're going to put some color on it. What I got now is I got a wipe here. This is an anti-static wipe. It's basically just soaked in isopropyl alcohol. So what I'm going to do now is go and wipe down all the paper with this, just to kind of, help keep as much static and dirt off the car as possible. So the last step, I'm going to take my tack cloth. This one's well used, but it'll still do the job. This is just basically, they're kind of tacky. I don't know if they're made of beeswax or something, but it's going to pick up anything that we left behind, any lint or anything that's just kind of stuck on the panel there. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do here is I'm going to start basing it. I'm going to do all my edges first. That way, it's just good practice. It's just something I've always done. That way you don't end up with any dry edges. Alright, so the gun I'm going to be using for my base coat is it's an oldie but a goodie. One of my favorites. It's an Estewada LPH 400. And I'm using the Valspar solvent base coat, which I'll show you guys in a minute. Alright, so I got the first coat of base coat on, just letting it flash. The nice thing with the solvent, it does flash pretty quick. So the reason I chose to do a solvent color on this, it's super cheap compared to the water stuff, and anytime if you're doing a solid color, this car was, say, a high metallic color like a silver, or you know, it was going to gray metallic or something, I would most likely spray it in water, just because it's better, long story short. So you can see it flashing there now. It's flashing pretty quick. So I am using a fast reducer, which I'll show you guys here in a minute. I'm gonna go mix some more up for the second coat, just because it is like 20 below outside today. So I got the boost set around 70 degrees. So, and this car is so little that, you know, I can get around it really quick with a fast reducer. So, all right, so this is the stuff I'm using here. This is the Valspar base here, and then I got some PPG Ultra High Gloss Clear Coat. I've been using this stuff for years. I love it. Keep in mind, if you're gonna use this stuff, it works phenomenal, but it's very slow. It's not a production clear. This stuff takes 3 times as long to dry as a normal production clear, so keep that in mind. So this thing is going to need a bake for probably an hour before we can even touch it. So this base here, the nice part about it is a 1-to-1. So I basically just bought 2 quarts, and it'll give me 4 quarts sprayable. So yeah, so what I mean by 1-to-1 is, you know, if you have a quart of paint, you're gonna add a quart of reducer. So this basically 2 quarts is gonna be 4 quarts sprayable, which will be plenty for this. I think I've only got about a quart into it so far, so it should be enough. And then down the road, if you ever want to touch anything up, you got some left over. So I won't show me mixing that, you know, it's not that hard. You know, you pour 16 ounces of base, you're gonna pour 16 ounces of reducer. All right, so what I'm gonna do now, our first coat's done flashing. I'm gonna go ahead and hit it with a second coat, and then after that, we're gonna check the color with the sunlight gun, make sure we have enough paint to see if we need to do a third coat. And yeah, if everything's good, we don't need to put any more base, it'll be clear time. Alright, so the second coat's on. It's flashing off right now. Once it flashes off, what I'm going to do is I got a sunlight gun here. What that's going to do is it's basically going to simulate, you know, being outside in the sun. Like, it might look like it's, you know, the paint's fully covered. You know, black's pretty forgiving, but some colors aren't. Like some reds, yellows, it might look like you have enough coverage, and then you goes out in the sun, you're like, oh crap, I can see right through the base. So just to keep from having to redo it, every paint job, I always check everything with a sunlight gun. It's good practice, even on good hiding colors like this. So what I'm going to do is just shine it on there. And you'll know right away if you don't have enough paint somewhere. You'll be able to see right through it. So it's looking good. I'm pretty confident it's got enough paint on it. Like I said, this color is pretty forgiving, but I know when we did Corey's car, the red, you really gotta, if you had a burn through, yeah, really had to make sure you had enough base on it, because it did not hide very good. Yeah, looks pretty good. Look good, so I'll go mix up some clear. By that time, this thing should be ready to clear. Check the wheel wells. Yeah. And we look good in there. Beauty. Okay. Time for some clear coat. Fun part. For this application, got a whole quart mixed up. I'll be using my Supernova, Nessa Water Supernova, with a 1/4 tip. I really like this gun for clear. It sprays real nice. Alright, so we got the first coat of clear on there. Now with the first coat, I generally don't go, I do a medium wet coat on the first coat. Just to get the paint on there. What that's going to do is it's going to act like glue. So we're going to let this sit. This, like I was saying, this clear is very slow. So we're gonna let it flash for 15 minutes. And what that's going to do is it's going to tack up and it's going to act like glue. So when we put that second coat on, we can put it on a lot heavier. If you try and put the first coat on like it's your last, it's going to run right off the panel on you. So the trick is, slow and steady wins the race. So that first coat, I don't know if you can see it in there, but it's still pretty orange peely. It's not too heavy, and it's going to allow me to put that second coat on, that second or third coat on, a lot heavier. All in all, it looks pretty good so far. Body work looks pretty good. Alright, the second coat of clear is done. I waited 15 minutes, let it tack up good. We're just waiting now. We gotta wait 15 more minutes before we can bake it. Let all the solvents flash out of it. Yeah, so this is an example of why I like taking the parts off the car. So on that second coat of clear, I really put it on pretty heavy. So what that allows me to do is I can turn it sideways and it's not gonna run away from me. Just flows it out real nice. I don't know if you can see that. And it looks good, so I'm not going to bother putting an extra coat of clear on it. Flowed out real nice. The nice thing with this clear is it'll look exactly the way it does now after a bake cycle. Or 2 bake cycles. So I'll go and get the sunroof, the hood ready. That's basically the only other thing we gotta paint. I still gotta do the bumpers, but I'll do the two-tone on those today. And show you guys how I do that.